Tonight, a lot of attention focused on this check, more than $300,000 sent from the Erie County Clerk's office nearly 2 years ago. It looks real, but it turns out it's fraudulent. Instead of being paid to a state entity, you can see the recipient is actually Get Mobile LLC. Someone stole the real check somewhere along the way and made this fraudulent one. The money may never be recovered and a criminal investigation is underway. The Erie County Comptroller's office discovered this as part of an audit highly critical of the county clerk, but the clerk is firing back, claiming that the full story isn't being told. So joining us live tonight are Comptroller Kevin Hardwick and Clerk Mickey Kearns. I appreciate you both of you coming in. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Michael.
So this is a bit of a complicated story, right? So I'm going to try to simplify it as best as I can here, because what happens is each month the clerk's office receives mortgage tax payments, right? And you send that off to the state entity. I'm not even going to name it because you've probably never heard of it, but it's sort of a regular thing, right? And what happened is your office put the check in the mail. It never got to the state entity. We don't know what happened to it, but at some point along the way, someone stole it, created this fake check, and cashed it in. So let me start with you, Mr. Hardwick. Your office found this as part of an audit. I think the question a lot of us are wondering is, you know, if we never find the money, who is out the money? Is Erie County out, or is the state entity out?
Well, initially, of course, yeah, the state entity never got its money, we found out later. And hopefully Erie County isn't out the money. We've already talked to our insurance carrier. They have a file set up on this and another case in the clerk's office. So we're hopeful that insurance will cover most of this if it ever comes back to us.
Mr. Kearns, I gave a bit of a synopsis there.
Sure.
Did I miss any part of it, or is that pretty much the gist of it? And how would you respond? I know that the audit was a bit critical, saying there should have been safeguards in place.
Sure. This is the place where real estate is conveyed, whether it's real estate, private or business, residential, and we send that. New York State is our partner. We partner with New York State Department of Taxation. So when we send our MT4, that is approved. We send it over also to the Comptroller's office to be reviewed, but that is approved. That check was sent out of our office. It was intercepted. As soon as we found out, we wish we would have found out a little bit sooner. We found out that the district attorney's office asked them to keep it confidential. We contacted the Bank of Erie County, M&T Bank. We put an affidavit in to reclaim that money. But once again, as the district attorney said, this was a very complicated scheme. This was something that was done on behalf of a fraudulent check. And as soon as we heard and reviewed that, we went into action. We contacted the bank. We contacted our partner, Sonny Mae. They never contacted us. They did not know the check was missing. So we would be hopeful that that could be collected, but that money is New York State money. That goes directly to New York State. We act as a pass-through in the Erie County Clerk's office for the conveyance of that Sonny Mae money. It was quite a large sum of money, but once again, Sonny Mae is our partner. We work with the Department of Finance and Taxation in order to make sure that that money is properly received.
So obviously, moving forward, you want to try to prevent something like this from happening again. And someone committed a very serious crime here, and you hope that that person can, you know, police can find that person and can prosecute them. As part of the audit, what do you think needs to change in terms of safeguards?
Well, I think beyond just this check, there are a number of other areas that we found lacking. Realize that the mortgage tax that's levied on new mortgages goes to a number of places. It just doesn't go to Sonny Mae, the state mortgages agency, although that's one of the places. It also goes to the NFTA and to the various towns, villages, and cities in Erie County. I think, you know, we stumbled upon the counterfeit check. I'm glad we did, because we were able to turn it over to the DA, and hopefully someone is brought to justice down the road. But that is what it is. I mean, our bigger concern is what's happening with the rest of the mortgage tax and the way it's being distributed, because there were some major problems there. We found that money was not going to the right place, that some, in our sample, some towns that were supposed to be getting money were getting too much, other towns too little, and those things add up. And we did a very small sample of the total number of transactions, and we were only looking at 1 year. We feel that these issues probably go back multiple years, multiple clerks. It's come up in earlier audits, not of Mickey's tenure, but of there was one for Chris Jacobs, for instance, when he was clerk. And these problems seem to have never been addressed. And we think that once and for all, we need to address them. And someone at some point in time is going to have to get in there and figure out, where the money went and where it should have gone, and try to reconcile everything.
Well, hang on a second. This is where I disagree. I said, we filed a response, and we know, and we stated in our exit interview that there were inaccuracies. So I think, according to the GAGAS, the Government Accounting Standards, you're supposed to review, and we're supposed to get documentation so we can improve the office. That's what we're supposed to be partners in government, and if we made a mistake, or if there is a mistake, we requested that information that we should get at the front end. Sent a letter today, haven't received the information. I know Kevin was my teacher, and he would say, show your work. You need to show your work, and the taxpayers deserve it. And just let me finish. So the point being is we found that of the 30 findings, 4 were on his office. He was gracious enough to put those 4 findings. 1 was to work more cooperatively together, and the rest, I'll give you this one here. We tried to, Kevin, tell your office in the reach, it states here that we didn't collect $104,000, which isn't true. You said there was $104,000 variance. That is not true. There were so many inaccuracies in this audit that took 8 months. Remember, it was an additional audit. This is the stuff that needs to be corrected. This was misleading. And I don't want the public to know. The clerk's office is a very important office. We want to work, and we encourage, and we want constructive criticism. But when there are things that are wrong and misleading, saying things we didn't do, like during the storm, we didn't release a mortgage when the county clerk's office was closed for 5 days. That's 2 findings there. I'll go finding by finding, but at some point in time, we got to sit down and we got to do the people's work. It can't be about just politicizing the process. Let's talk about the facts. And that's what I'm here for.
Let me jump in for 1 second. I have a tough question for each of you, and I'll give each a chance to respond. I'll ask you to be brief, though, because we've gone a while. Mr. Kearns, moving forward, this state entity says it does accept electronic transfers, ACH. I think to a lot of people watching, they'll say, why in the world would you put a $300 and some thousand check in the regular mail?
Right.
Will that change so this doesn't happen again?
Of course, we reached out to our partners. We've been working with them. We do ACH with the county. We transfer over. We're across the street, and we transfer stuff. We use ACH. But historically, we did use, and they requested a paper check. We reached out with our partner, Niagara County, through the County Clerks Association. We are working on that process right now. We would, in instance, when I became clerk, we wanted to have a signature for receiving these big checks, but it goes to a lockbox. And we're trying to work with our partners and our entities, of course, to do ACH. We want to protect the taxpayers' money. This is the public's money, whether it goes to New York State or whether it stays local. And as I said, we encourage and we'll work with the County Comptroller's office. We're very thankful for his constructive insights into what we have to do. But what I want to get down to is I want to move forward, and let's just deal with the facts. There's a lot of facts that aren't correct in this audit.
Let me end with this. Should you have provided the documentation before now?
No, I received the response from Mickey today, and I looked at it. It was kind of amusing because he was looking at the wrong chapter of the book that we abide by. He wanted the work papers up front. He wanted them included there. This was a 34-page audit with a number of serious findings. Now, most audits are like 7 or 8 pages. This was 34 pages. If we included what he was asking for, which we're not required to, it would have been 134 pages.
But they have to be prepared, right? Do they have to be prepared?
They have been prepared.
Then send them to me. Send them to me. Why do I have to foil this? Send them to me. Give them to me tomorrow.
You don't need to foil them, Mickey. We said we would provide them to you. We're in the process of putting them together. You will get them in due time. I take exception to the assertion that the audit was inaccurate.
Is that
there were
wrong?
mistakes. I don't know what it is.
Well, you're the controller. You should know if that's right or wrong.
No, I don't have my reading glasses on.
Well, you can
can't
borrow
tell what
mine.
No, I don't want to do that. But it should be noted that this has been a long audit, as you say. And one of the reasons it's been so long is that information, including the initial survey that we sent over, was never returned. And there have been, I understand, personnel changes in your office.
Mm-hmm.
The people that actually did the mortgage tax back in the time frame we were looking at, 2022, are no longer there. One of them is apparently under criminal investigation.
We don't know
related
that.
to that.
We don't know that. You can't make law enforcement. You've made that assertion. Law enforcement is looking into that. Let law enforcement do their job, and you do your job.
I think you were quoted in the Buffalo News yesterday as saying this person from your office was.
I was
under
not
criminal
quoted in the Buffalo News.
Let me jump in for 1 second. So within 2 weeks, you'll give the documentation.
We should have it
to
tomorrow.
The clerk's office.
This is the taxpayers. If it's right and if it's prepared, send it over tomorrow.
Right.
What's the big deal?
We will.
You use it to prepare the documentation. This is an important document, right, for the taxpayers. We want to work. All we're saying is, if I'm wrong, you know this, Michael, you've asked me many times, I will say I'm wrong and we'll correct it. We want to work together to correct it. Has he been helpful? Yes. When we needed 2 accountants, he went before the legislature and advocated for that.
That's where I'm going to stop it. I know that you both care a lot about Erie County and care about Erie County government.
We do.
We appreciate you coming in.
That we're not going to argue about.
And,
that I can vouch for.
Committed
Thank you, Michael.
to improving the county. Thank you both for coming in. Clerk Mickey Kearns, Comptroller Kevin Hardwick. Stay with us.